Hey everybody, welcome to part 4 of the history of distortion. Today we're going to look at the 90s. Now, guitar players have been relying on pedals for distortion in the 80s, but in the 90s, that's when an amp's preamp section really took over. And for me anyway, the two most significant developments of the 90s were the PV5150 and the Mesa Dual Rectifier. Two amps that I still own to this day. Both have what I like to call killer tone. Of course, there were a multitude of different amp designs and ways to create distortion. I'm just kind of highlighting my personal favorites here, because the 90s weren't just about amps. There were all sorts of new directions heavy rock was headed in. Of course, there was the grunge explosion, which was cool for about 30 seconds. Seriously, I remember Christmas of 1991 and that whole Nirvana thing was just starting to take off. I'm home from college and I get invited to a party over in Michigan. And so I show up there and some dumbass put Smells Like Teen Spirit into the CD player and then hit repeat. And we had to listen to that the whole night. I remember saying to myself, man, this grunge thing is going to be bad. And 6 months later, FM radio was saturated with overplayed grunge. I mean, you just could not get away from it. Now, the emphasis of that music was less on shred and more on emotion. And I will admit, some of the tones were pretty cool. Personal taste aside, I think there were two bands from the 90s I think everyone can agree were great. Tool and White Zombie. Yeah, that's our semi-White Zombie kind of riff. You can't do the 90s without doing something like that. I got that tone from downloading it from the cloud in Bias Effects. But distortion went in a much more savage direction as well with the underground death metal movement. Bands from all over were taking 80s thrash, downtuning the guitars, increasing the speed, precision, and intensity. The end result was some really amazing stuff. Once again, the tone was from Bias FX using a 5150 sim downloaded off the cloud. And that's where we're headed in the final episode for 2000 and beyond, the digital amp revolution. See you next week.